Greetings, mathematicians of all ages. Tonight we're going to work on writing variable expressions. It is slightly different from the last lesson. In the last lesson we were taking variable expressions and we were simplifying them. So we were given a variable and usually an operation and a number. So last lesson we were given something like x plus 8 for x is 4, something like that. Then we had to plug in 4 for the x, which you can rewrite, and then of course simplify. Today our goal is actually to start with that very first one, x plus 8, and our goal is to be able to write that as a word phrase. So we're going to take each of the main 4 operations. We want to be able to write it as a word phrase, and then eventually to go the other direction too, where we take word phrases and put those back into variable expressions. It may seem a bit trivial as we do it today. It will definitely come in handy later as we get more into algebra. So we need to do all 4 operations. Let's go ahead and start with, why don't we do multiplication first? So for multiplication, again, a perfectly good variable expression would be something like maybe 5y. Remember that we no longer do 5 times y, because that looks like 5xy, right? So cross that out. This is one good option where you smush them together. Another good option is either, you can also do 5 times y. We can also add the parentheses in there, 5 times y. Anyway, so those are all good options. I'm going to leave it as 5y right now. And what we should do is write down possible word phrases for multiplication. So a couple word phrases that can work for multiplication as we look at this variable expression, 5 times y, are, 2 options are 5 times y. That's a word phrase to go with that variable expression. And the other option is the product of 5 and y. We're going to use all these words that talk about the answer of each kind of operation. So you'll remember that product goes with multiplication. So this is one good option, 5 times y, and the other good option is the product of 5 and y. That's going from a variable expression into a word phrase. We got 2 good options there. So that's multiplication. All right, let's do division next. So for division, in our book this year we'll probably see it as something like 6 divided by, let's not use a letter, let's do a cookie. Add some I don't know, chocolate chips, maybe some raisins. Yeah, let's make it oatmeal raisin. We'll make it a healthy one. All right, so we have this variable expression, and once again for division there's 2 good options. And the first one, you looking back at the multiplication, you may have guessed is just a simple 6 divided by cookie. Add some raisins in there. And again, if you remember the second one for multiplication, where we use that word that talked about the answer when we're doing multiplication, this one we're going to use that word for division, the answer in division, which is the quotient. So a second option for this is the quotient of 6 and cookie. Oatmeal raisin cookie, of course. Those are looking more like sprinkles now. Anyway, they're raisins, clearly. All right, so we've done multiplication, we've done division. Let's go ahead and move on to addition. I did save addition and subtraction because, I saved them specifically because they end up having more word phrases that can go with them. So I'm actually going to leave myself even more room here. A good variable expression for addition would just be something like, let's go back to letters here, we'll do x plus 7. So there's the variable expression, x plus 7. And, well, I already said the first option, so the first one, we got a bunch here. X plus 7. The second option, again using that word that talks about the answer, would be the sum of x and 7. Perfectly good option. And then there's a couple more we can do. I think the book's only ever going to ask us for 2. So even if you just remember these, you're golden. But a couple more could be x increased by 7. And if that's starting to confuse you, just remember, variables, all they do is hold the place of a number. So if we want to, plug something in, let's make x 5, and if we say that's 5, then we would actually put 5 in for here. 5 increased by 7 would be 12, right? So x increased by 7, we can plug anything in for x, and you just end up adding 7 to that, okay? So we got x plus 7, we got the sum of x and 7, we got x increased by 7, and now one of the trickier ones to get, but the book does it every year, so you're going to have to be used to it. It's actually going to be 7 more than x. And we don't read that 7 more than x. We actually read it 7 more than x. So again, if that's confusing you with the x in there, just pretend like a number's in there, like a 5. So 7 more than 5. Well, to get 7 more than 5, we know that we do 5 plus 7. So in this case, we're just taking a number plus 7, right? X plus 7. Okay, so that's 4 options for addition. All we have left is subtraction. So let's get that down. For subtraction, let's throw a variable expression down. And let's do, what's another picture? Let's do an apple. So we have apple. Gotta get the leaf in there. Interesting. Okay, apple minus 2. Okay, I already said the first one. Oh goodness, these are getting worse. Apple minus 2. If you're looking at the addition ones or you wrote those down, you can probably guess what the next ones are going to be. The next one would be the difference, right? So that's what we call the answer in subtraction, just like sum when we're talking about addition and etc., etc. So the difference of, let's see if I can do this faster. Apple, yeah, not getting much better. And 2, and then we can do apple decreased by 2. Just like when for addition we did increased by 2, this time we do decreased by 2. Our last one, and again this is kind of the tricky one, we're going to do 2 less than apple. Thank goodness this is the last time I have to write one. Alright, 2 less than apple. Again, we don't read that 2 less than apple. When we read it that way, it almost sounds like this, 2 less than apple. But that's not what we want. We want 2 less than apple. So again, just plug something in for apple. 10. 2 less than 10. To do that, we do 10 minus 2. Well, it's the same here. 2 less than apple is just going to be apple minus 2. Okay? So we have to go this way, where they give us a variable expression, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and we got to be able to write these word phrases from it. Lots of options, okay? We also have to be able to go the other direction, okay? So let's try some of those, where they actually give us a word phrase, and we have to be able to write the variable expression that would go with it, okay? So let's just do one of each operation. Let's do... let's start with the difference of, let's do z, of z and 8. Okay, so we look at this word phrase, we try to remember which operation it is: multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. We should recognize that word difference. That's the answer in, that's the result in subtraction. So we know it's got to be subtraction. And in difference, the order actually really does matter. Same with division. So it says the difference of z and 8, because it's in that order, it has to be in that order in our final variable expression. So in this one, it would be z minus 8. If I did 8 minus z, I'd actually get the wrong result. And because it's in this order, the difference of z and 8. I got to put them in that order there. It matters less in addition and multiplication, since those have a property called the commutative property, which means I can flip them back and forth and it doesn't matter. But it is good to get in the habit of putting those in the right order anyway for when we get to subtraction and division as well. Okay, let's try another one. So let's move on to another operation. Let's do the product of 2 and c. Should recognize product as multiplication. Remember, we're not going to do 2 times c because that looks like 2xc, so we don't want that. Cross it out. Our options are 2c, which is multiplication, 2 dot c, and 2 parentheses c. All good options. They all mean multiplication. Do not do this one. All right, let's do another. Let's do b increased by 9. That increased by should look familiar. That's addition. B plus 9. Okay. And let's do 7 divided by, we'll bring tree back. Okay. Clearly the divided by, we just swap out the symbol, right? Alrighty, if I can back up here, just as a review of what we did, we started with going from variable expressions to word phrases, right? So we did multiplication, we did division, the oatmeal raisin cookie there. We did addition, more options for addition, and subtraction, and then we went the other direction. So if I give the word phrase, we got to be able to write a variable expression, right? We did subtraction, we did some multiplication in there. We also did some addition, and then we finished off with division. So it may seem tough to see the point right now. Just know that this is going to save us oodles of time when we go from word problems to variable expressions, and that algebra works out nicely, saves us a bunch of time so we don't have to do guess and check. All right, see you next time.